Good evening, everybody. Welcome to KC Happy Hour, episode number 44. As we are here live in the studio, back from our first ever double event weekend. My name is Xander Clemens, of course, you guys' host. We got a couple different people on the cast, which means we're going to be needing to update our intros. We'll have some more returning new characters on the Happy Hour shows here to replace some of the drivers that are getting a little bit busier as the season starts to go on. But let's go ahead and we'll bring them on in here into the studio first. I've got our producer behind me, Aaron Hachmeister. Aaron, busy weekend, lots of rain where you were at up in Indy, but smooth. I mean, your kid was quick.
Yeah, Austin ended up, I think he qualified sixth, finished sixth and fourth in the heat races, won the pre-final, and then took third in the main event. So I was pretty happy with him. And then I was also working with Charlie Myers in micro, and in mini, and we just made a lot of improvement. It was his third ever race in the mini Swift. So it was a lot of progress, pretty good weekends for both drivers, in my opinion.
Definitely. I mean, you guys had a strong showing there. MPG was quick, your team you were working for. Aaron, as you guys know, he's been joining us on Happy Hour a lot. He's going to be a mainstay character here as we move forward with the show, and he's a current KC team member at a bunch of other events besides the Stars Championship Series and Route and USPKS races that we go to. We go to a bunch of other ones as well. We'll talk to more of those here later tonight. But let's go ahead and bring on some of the faces you might recognize from over the weekend. Caleb Smock is joining us here tonight. He's back home from Texas after a long week there and some food poisoning, right?
Yeah, it was an interesting Sunday, to say the least. Shout out to Ron John for taking over because I had to make several trips to the bathroom. Also, thank you to Alan Murdoch for air conditioning your bathroom. It was very, very well appreciated.
It's a nice place down there at Speed Sports. We'll get into it a lot. But how was your first time down at the facility? Thoughts?
It's a gorgeous facility. That was my first time at any track in Texas besides where they run IndyCars at. But no, top-of-line facility. The track had a good flow to it, great passing opportunities, and top-of-line facilities.
Well, it was sick, obviously. Caleb was part of the broadcast crew down there. Emory Lyda is joining us here in the studio, and while he was originally planned to strictly be on the directing side behind the camera, I also struggled through the weekend with a bit of a cold that I came under, and I put Emory back in the mic seat where he was from USPKS. Emory, first, how are you doing? And second, thank you again for stepping in because that was a big help for me because I couldn't make it through those Sunday sessions without coughing.
Yeah, first off, I'm doing great. Had to rest quite a bit yesterday. I mean, it was a long drive, not a lot of sleep going on Monday night or Sunday night, excuse me. Second off, hope you're doing well after the sickness. And yeah, I mean, it was an experience, man. I mean, going from directing one day to commentating the other was quite an experience, but a lot of fun up there, getting to experience a new type of racing up in Newcastle, certainly. I mean, compared to obviously being there for 7 years racing, it's a whole different feel being up in the booth, seeing it all unfold.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I think that helped me driving wise over the years. And it's just so different seeing every single session go out through a whole day and not even in an officiating point. Because when you're an official, things are still a little bit different. You kind of still see things through a lens. You're focused on a certain corner, but we're in a lucky spot where we get to watch every single session throughout the day. You get to learn a lot. You get to see a lot, and I'm sure that'll translate for you as well. So let's dive into that here. These will be our core guys that we've got on tonight. We're also going to be having the man who was able to win probably the most exciting finish of the year, and we've had a lot, so that's saying something, but it's up there. The 206 senior finish at the Texas Sprint Racing Series. Guys may have already seen the clip. Kelvin Xing, a 3-wide way to win his first ever regional. He's going to join us later on in the show in the second segment. And Alec Coates, the main man, the race director for the Stars Championship Series, will be joining us later in the show as well. Let's give you a brief update of some of the news that happened over the weekend. First, obviously, both the races that went down, and we'll pull a quick graphic up to show you guys that. The Stars Championship Series and the Texas Sprint Racing Series got underway. It was our first ever double weekend of doing two events on two different sides of the country. I know they were more than 16 hours apart because it was a 15-hour drive for me out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area to get up to Stars at King of the Castle. Just ended, I think, 2 or 3 entries shy of 200 entries. We joked about putting me in a go-kart and putting Emory in a go-kart and putting some other guys in just to hit that 200 number. But massive, massive turnout, obviously, over there. Robert Fish here, thanks for joining in. And this is a big storyline we're going to touch on later in the show, especially when we get Alec, the race director, on. There was a massive shifter turnout, over 30 shifter masters between KZ and Rock. There were 20-plus in pro shifter. It is the biggest shifter turnout, I think, combined of 50-plus shifters in the country outside of Supernats that we've seen in a while, and outside of Rock Vegas as well, outside of the two major Vegas events, because it beat the majority of the winter tours. And don't quote me on that because the winter tours have been strong and they were close, but they were a little bit lighter this year in both the shifter master class, which was normally in the high teens, and the pro shifter class in the mid-20s. So to pull 50 plus at a series that, as the series owner Joe Janowski touched on last week, it's kind of in this somewhere gray area, right? They're not strictly a regional. They're not under any series umbrella. They're their own thing. They don't have X30 classes, and by and large, in the last few years, they've been looked at as kind of a Midwest regional or Eastern Coastal regional. But this year, pushing 200 entries, it's still, I would say, the competition level is a very strong or a super regional. In terms of the names that are there, where you get a few national names at the front, but a lot more names that you don't normally see on the entry list at some of the U.S. Pro Kart Series or SCUSA Pro Tour or Rock national events like the Rock Winter Tour, Rock Vegas events. But it was massive. And we're going to touch on a lot of the clips we have of that. We've seen already, again, on our social medias, if you guys have been following us, we've posted a bunch of different clips from this event over the weekend. And then on the flip side, a proper official regional series under the IKF and SCUSA banner, the Texas Sprint Racing Series, also 200 plus entries down at Speed Sports Racing Park in North Houston. That's where Caleb was. That's where we had our other broadcast team. So 20 plus hours apart. Our first time ever doing a double weekend. We got both streams going. We got a good amount of posts from the Stars series. We didn't get as many posts as we'd like from the TSRS event, but we're going to have more coming over the next few weeks. So don't worry about that. But nonetheless, both events went off really good. At the Stars event, there was some crazy weather that hit us on excuse me. As you can see, I'm still recovering a little bit. Some crazy weather that hit us on Saturday. It shortened the event a little bit, but it wasn't the only event to get hit with weather. The Speed Sports Racing event, they had overnight rain that made the warm-up session on Sunday before the second heat and the finals made guys going into those sessions pretty much blind because they were on rain tires in the morning because of how heavy the rain came overnight. So they got heavy weather overnight. We got heavy weather in the afternoon. It delayed us. It delayed 8,500 qualifying and kind of cut that short a little bit. And then on top of that, we weren't the only ones that had some craziness going on around the country. Along with that, first, up our friends north of the border, and this is a post from our good buddy Cody Schindel at Canadian Karting News, kind of covering a massive storm that went through and completely canceled an event with the amount of track damage that went down at Goodwood Kartways, which was playing host to a Kart Stars Canada event. It was a big turnout for the race, and you can see the destruction in the paddock area, just unreal. Again, the update is Cody posted. The remainder of the weekend's event, they canceled after the storm that passed through. This was, I believe, on Saturday when the storm came through. There are no serious injuries, but the damage to the track, to the paddock, you could see just it laid waste to everything and anything that was there. Tents flying, parts flying. Thank goodness no serious injuries in that. And one thing that Cody touched on in the comment section and talked about a little bit was how he was so ecstatic of how much the karting community up for our friends north of the border in Canada kind of came together and helped, pick up the pieces. Because, again, we talk about it a lot on this show. We've talked about it with the highs and the lows of this sport, from whether it's been losing amazing community members, which unfortunately we've had a few losses over the last year, and we've touched on those and tried to honor those. But we've also touched about some of the best parts of the sport and some of the highlights, whether it's a great interview of kids showing sportsmanship or some awesome racing. The community is awesome, and there's no questioning that, and anyone will tell you that, and our guys will tell you that on the show too. But the guys up there in Canada, they were faced with unbelievable adversity, and it was just everyone just trying to help their neighbor, their pit neighbor, their friend, their fellow team, their rival team pick up the pieces. And we wish the best to all those guys up there. That's thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage, I'm sure, on the paddock side, on the track side, with the trees going down, with them covering onto the racetrack. It's going to be a while. I'm sure, these next week or 2 weeks or however long it takes to pick up all the pieces. But we wish those guys the best, to the DeLeo brothers that own the Goodwood Kartways track and the Kart Stars Canada team, which I'm sure they didn't want to cancel that event, and that throws a wrench in their whole season. And the race teams and the drivers and the independent privateers. That's a lot to go through. So we want to send all of our love and all of our support here from Kart Chaser to you guys up there. We've talked about wanting to come up to Canada before. We've been working with a few different events and kind of had discussions about getting up there. Obviously, we're still really new. It doesn't seem like that because we're doing so much. Everything's been really accelerated, but realistically, we've been only at the streaming game for less than a year and full-time for the last 5 months. So I'd love to get up there. I'd love to cover races. I know Caleb and Emory and Aaron and Trevor and the rest of us would love to get to travel more and cover more awesome karting. But I wanted to first make sure we gave some spotlight to these guys on a really, really unfortunate situation, and to show some love and appreciation for how well those guys all handled it, and the community came together. And that wasn't the only downside. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of good news to bring besides the awesome racing we had on our two streamed events, because leaving the Texas Sprint Racing Series, Trevor McAllister is the owner of Arcane Motorsports. He's been on our show before. They had a crazy, crazy crash leaving the racetrack with their truck and trailer. Obviously, truck and trailer completely totaled. And again, just the damage bill from the weekend is pretty gnarly. It makes me losing a couple of our easy ups in the rain at the Stars race seem like nothing. So I want to, again, say a huge level of support. And I'm super thankful no one was hurt in the incident here. As Trevor said, you never know when it's your time. Today they had a flash of how close things and how fast they can change for him, for Tad Funakoshi, for Chris Freckleton. A real close one, and walked away with just some minor bumps and bruises. But obviously, parts can be replaced, people can. And so I wanted to, again, just make sure we show those guys some support here. And this is, again, just about the karting community. You can read the comments on Trevor's post. Nothing but love and support. People asking how they can help out. And Trevor's an honest business guy there. He's going to rebound. He's a karting lifer, and he's been on this show, and he'll be on this show more in the future, I'm sure. Man, what a rough weekend all around the country with some weather that's just been pretty wild. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot. We weathered it. We were good on our end. We were at least able to bring you guys all the coverage. Caleb, for the first TSRS event, first weekend, I had you streaming for us without me. With Ron John, you guys, it was hot down there too, right?
Yeah, it was a little hot on Saturday, and the rain came on Sunday, or Saturday night into Sunday, I should say, and then Sunday morning was wet. But it dried up. It stayed relatively cool on Sunday, but yeah, Saturday was a bit difficult to say the least.
Yeah, and then Emory, getting into the booth again. Like I said, I appreciate you hopping in, but your take, I mean, the racing was wild. You had 50 plus guys going in that KA Stars event and LCQ. I mean, they were at 27, which was their biggest class by and large last year. It's still the biggest class by and large this year by about 20 entries, but I mean, I'm sure the race, and I saw it too, obviously announcing it as well, but the racing was gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, you look through the classes, and really, I can't think of more than a couple that didn't have exciting parts of the race and like really exciting finishes. I mean, you had guys with two car fields at the end kind of going for the win together. We saw that a lot in different classes. We saw that again in, obviously, Kate in the highlight class, and you had, in general, a lot of really close racing there. And I mean, for Stars to almost hit 200 entries across the weekend, it's really good for that series. It's really good to see just some of the winners that you had. I mean, obviously, Vincenzo Saraceno, a name that we've known for years, and Rockstar is able to come away with the win in the shifters. And obviously, Connor Ferris and K Stars really stood out to me with a really good weekend, was fast all weekend. And just in general, I mean, it was a stacked field throughout the different fields, and to have that close racing was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, breakout weekends for the likes of Braden Johnson winning in a pretty good 206 Stars class that didn't have a million competitors, but it had a lot of big names in it to get away with the win there. Marco Samet is a micro kid. We've already talked about him a little bit. He's won at the U.S. Pro Kart Series. He's now won at the Stars Series. It's his first full year at National Racing, and Mike Doty Racing and Brandon Georgecrack Racing. They seem like they've got a superstar on their hands down in the micro ranks. So he did really good. And like you said, Saraceno, that was an exciting shifter race, and about as exciting as they come. I mean, he had four guys on his tail the whole main. We go over to the Texas Series. Aiden Rudolph defending home turf over there. Caleb, he did a fantastic job. But the 206 race we're going to get to right after the break, because we've got the race winner, Kelvin Xing, here. He's going to be joining us. Caleb, you got a little bit of mic issue, but I'll at least give you a second to talk about any other highlights that really stood out to you about that TSRS weekend, if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, the first race was insane. Calvin settled down. I wish I had great when I took it. Popped it out the field and took it away. The fair ASU race, if I was using it, you got into the settled down. That's what two kind of bumped up into the jacket. So those are the two.
Yeah. We'll get more into that here right after the break here and give a little bit of work on the Caleb's mic to try and see if we can tune on that. And Kelvin Xing has joined the studio. He'll be joining us right after the first commercial break. Casey Happy Hour, episode number 44 is coming right back up here with more action. Stick with us, guys. We'll be right back.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jekko racing seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com.
At New Gen Motorsport, we're committed to using our 10-plus years of experience and knowledge to help grow the sport of karting from the bottom up. Our goal is to make karting more accessible to the average person, lessening the financial burden of getting started, and making the learning curve as small as possible. Our passion is training and developing drivers, mechanics, and engineers to not only be the best they can be in karting, but also for careers in the much larger world of professional motorsports. A strong foundation makes building bigger easier. Let us be that foundation for your karting and motorsports career. Be part of the new generation of motorsport. Contact us today to schedule your test day, arrive and drive race event, or to inquire about how we can help get you started in your own new gen racing kart.
Don't settle for a national engine builder. Take care of yourself with an international one. SRP Engines is a global industry leader in engine services, specializing in engine formulas such as KZ, OK, OKJ, and Mini 60. SRP Engines is the engine of choice for Magic Kart USA and helped power North America's #1 ranked pro shifter driver AJ Myers to the 2021 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour National Championship. SRP Engines can also service any spec engine class of your choice, including IAME and ROC divisions. However, if you're looking for the absolute choice when it comes to KZ shifter engines, there is nobody better. For more information, contact Amr Sanada at srp-engines.com. KC Happy Hour is proudly presented by the Rock Sonoma Karting Championship, presented by Cameron Race Promotions, the most competitive Northern California karting series. Featuring a 2-day format with practice on Saturday and racing on Sunday, multiple track configurations, and a massive prize structure including tickets to Rock Vegas, race car test opportunities, and race rewards. Rock Sonoma is the training ground of multiple national karting champions each year and race car champions as well. Featuring a full Rock Cup USA class structure with each race weekend streamed live via YouTube, it's a series you cannot miss. For more info, check us out online at zanzarukarting.com.
So welcome back, everybody, here to KC Happy Hour. Let's go ahead and bring him on in. Kelvin Xing to the studio. Let's put you on up here, buddy. Dude, not everybody knows how far back you and I personally go, because you are one of the first guys I have met, if you want to call it the racing community. Back when we were racing rental go-karts at an indoor track, we were 11. You were, what, 13 years old? Like 10, 12 years ago at Andretti's in Georgia?
Yeah, basically. I mean, started off there. A lot of good drivers actually came out of kind of that program, but you know, obviously you progressed into sprint karting much faster than I did. I had to take a break, graduate from school, and kind of get a regular job so that I can start funding this. But yeah, it's really cool kind of how our relationship formed and how we've kind of met up now, like, you know, 10 plus years later.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, this is right back from it right there, folks. Well, actually, this is my GT2 one. So this was when you were still in the GT1 category. The GT2 was the semi-pro class. I don't know where my GT1 trophy was, but yeah, a while back. But yeah, dude. So let's go ahead. Let's pull the clip up here really quick. We've got it of your win, which was crazy, and then we'll break it down here. I'm hoping that it won't be too laggy to bring it on up, but I'll pause it here and we'll see how it goes. My connection's been a little bit wild. Let's see.
All right, your top three have actually put a little bit of a gap back there to fourth, so it's going to be these three. Who's going to come out in the end? And meanwhile, it looks like Caden says, "Hey, Ethan, pull over. I'm coming through." Brother goes right around his other brother. They bang against one another, side by side, and Braxton track goes wide. Is he going to be able to hang on? It's going to be a drag race. All the way down to the start. Bam! Who took it? Kelvin Xing, out of nowhere.
And so I guess we should probably clarify here, because we want to make sure we get the names. Is it Xing or Xing?
Xing is fine. You can say it both ways. Both are technically correct.
So
yeah,
let's have you break down that last lap here. I'll kind of pause it as you kind of talk through it, but walk us through kind of your perspective on that final lap finish, because there's no crazier way to win your first ever regional event, the next step up in your career as a driver, right? And getting that big one under the belt than a 3 wide from way back out of the last quarter and able to take it. So walk us through that here.
Yeah, definitely. So coming onto that last lap, really, we had spaced out kind of the top 3, right? We're were kind of gapping each other, and I honestly thought they would stick together, and I had no chance at that point. And I knew that I didn't have a big pack behind me. I just had Bryce Frank, who's another driver that I raced locally with, and it seemed like he was willing to push me. He had been pushing me, I think, for the past 2-3 laps, and I saw that they started to kind of in the second to last corner make that move, and really I just kind of drove my normal line, just carried my speed there, kind of saw what happened, and luckily, I didn't arrive onto the scene too quickly, which allowed me to kind of make the best decision. At the time, I think Braxton, he got bumped into the grass just a little bit, which just opened up that small gap where I swung to the outside. So I think you'll see some point in the video where Braxton kind of overcorrects when he gets to the outside. That's when he puts 2 wheels on the dirt. He then gives me kind of the gap there, and the straightaway opens up, and yeah, that's what happened. And I got a little boost from Bryce, so that definitely helped out for sure.
Yeah, I know that was one of the comments right out of there, is asking if you got him a beer after that for that little push to get you the win. Did you go over and shake
the
his
kid
hand
is like 16,
Okay,
yeah, we hugged it out, but
I
I had a beer, but he can't.
So yeah, dude, I mean, you are, the epitome of, what we'd love to see more guys in the sport, right? You got your full-time job, you've gone through school, you're paying your own way and making it at these races, and you're going out there on, not like you're showing up to the racetrack with a car breaking down, but you're not a big team guy. You're a guy that's just kind of doing everything you can, and you can win, and you're able to pull it off. That's a talent. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you saw my setup compared to the rest, I think on Sunday we showed up really late for warm up, so I couldn't even park my car into my pit spot at the time. They weren't letting me, so we just changed the axle and did all the work outside the track. Me and Jorge, my mechanic, he flies down from Georgia for the races, helps me out a lot for that. So yeah, it's still definitely a privateer effort, but we just make sure the equipment is as good as possible. And I think that's the best part of 206 racing, as well as the parity, and it kind of comes down more to driver and racecraft.
Yeah, Caleb, obviously you were there and we're kind of on the call. Were you out of the bathroom at this point when this race went on? Because I know Ron John called the finish.
Yeah, he actually called that whole one. I just got back about halfway. And I put the headset on and I took it quickly back off because I don't know if it was going to be there or not. But I saw the finish and it was a good one. And I didn't think he would have come all the way back because, I mean, you saw in the video, that was a huge gap that he made up on the start where he's not even in the frame right now. And then you just see him. So he's probably about 5 or 6 car lengths back. I didn't think he was going to be in it in the last corner. Everyone immediately just stood up because we thought, oh, God, there's probably 5 guys that have a chance to win this. But no, it was a beautiful finish for him.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about it a little bit kind of coming into the show this week here, and we'll put up another clip from one of the K. I think this is one of the K heat races earlier in the weekend. Obviously it's Speed Sports, and Kelvin, you've got run a lot of the club races there because you're based in Houston, right? That's where you're living over at right now.
Yep, right now.
Yeah. So over in Houston, and it's a track that you have here. I'll pull up the full track map really quickly. So. You've got at the end of this long straightaway with the way that it runs, because it runs, I guess it would be clockwise from the way that this looks. So clockwise, you have that long straightaway into a 180 corner. That's a standard passing zone. As you saw, the guy was blocking into the last turn because normally you'll open up at least to like middle track going in there so you can stuff a guy, or a little bit over middle track. And then you have that infield hairpin. Those are like 3 easy places you think you can pass. Sometimes you get enough of a run on the straightaway, you can get someone clear before this S chicane section for 1, 2, and 3. But the back corner section, it has a lot of switchbacks, especially in the lower horsepower classes like your KA, your cadets, and your 206 classes, which is all that the TSRS is. So, like, for example, in this this KA here, which is Alec Stanfield, Josiah Tracy, and I think that's Noah Baker there, it looks like. Trying to get on it. And it's like,
and here comes Tracy the outside.
The next
Clear 3 wide, lining up for the second chicane, and Tracy tries to cross over.
You can hear Caleb going nuts all the way through. And it's just like this every time you come here, because the way the corners, they're not like deep enough. It's easy where you can get clear and stuff a guy. Normally, if you go in deep enough to get through, you have exactly what happens right here with Noah, where he goes out wide, and you can cross the guy up and end up like racing really good. And I remember talking with Alan in some of the races I race directed last year and some of the other interviews he's done about the racetrack, it was the section he didn't think was going to have a lot of passing, and it turned out to have a lot of passing. So Caleb, I mean, for a guy that watched the race there all weekend long, how much of that was going on, all that switchback stuff in that section?
It was almost every race. If there was a battle between 2 to 5 people, KA, this was from heat race number 1, I believe. Heat race 1, 2, and then the feature, every part of the track except a few were Rudolph who pulled away with it on the start. They were going back and forth between the S's. I mean, that hairpin sets up for a good pass with that long straight. But as you were saying, if you try to stuff a guy, well, now that dude's on the outside, he's on the inside. They're going to have to roll the inside. Then the guy can cross him over. So it was like that almost every single race. First time at the track, and it's a really good one to run, especially if you're pack racing like that.
Yeah, and I mean, Kelvin, here before we wrap this up too much, I mean, this was you're not a track that you're obviously unfamiliar with, but what's your take on some of the racing here? How much do you like having that place as a track really close to you?
Yeah, I think it's really great. It has a great flow to it. I love the first 4 corners that lead onto the backstretch, and of course that infield is still technical enough, especially in our 206, where we have to work together in a pack, where you have to be really strategic about making your move. I remember quite a few times where I thought I maybe could have done that switchback, but if I knew there was any risk of me kind of being side by side on the exit, it would just kind of end up in me falling down the pack. And I think that happened to several other people that we were racing with. In the end, I think I just ended up just staying single file and waiting for the left-hand hairpin later on in that track, and that way it kind of it led to the pack kind of running in a more single file line there. So that definitely helped out, and yeah, the racing is great there every time. I have great battles, whether it's on a regional or a club level.
So let's talk about it then. I mean, you got the win. This is round 2 of the season. NOLA was kind of up and down for you. Where are you at in the points? Are you thinking championship yet?
Yeah, I took a look. Jorge and I we were looking at it the other day. I think we're in 3rd place right now, so it's pretty good. We definitely have some work to do in the heat races because for some reason I can't do anything. I can't qualify and make it really hard for myself in the final. So that's that. But yeah, the goal is to run the whole championship and see where we end up. I think where we are right now is definitely it's a pleasant surprise for sure, especially, moving to Houston. It's really been like only a year since I've lived here, and now kind of running on a more regional competitive series. It's nice to kind of be up there with some of the top guys.
Well, hey, man, before we let you go, we got to give you a round of applause because we have this big group in here. Let's unmute Emory and Aaron, dude. Come on, boys. Caleb, don't kill your mic. Hey, yeah, dude, come on. First regional win. Let's go, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Anyway, congrats, Kelvin. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, buddy. We appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Well, we'll let Kelvin hop on out of the studio here. We'll keep on messing around a little bit, but man, I mean, that's a track neither you two have been to, right? Aaron, you haven't been down there, right?
No, I've never been there. I haven't even been to a Texas track before, so I would have liked to get out there and see it. Seems like it would have been a really fun track to work at or race at or do anything at. It looks really cool, but unfortunately, yeah, we had the stars commitment already. Hopefully, maybe next year we can get out there and go check out some more of the Texas-based tracks.
Yeah, well, the place is sick here. Jake Walker, thanks for the donation. I'm not going to say it out loud because we're not a streamer, but yeah, thanks, Jake, here for the tip there on it, and Emory too, man. I mean, the place looks sick, right? It's a place you want to announce at or probably race at.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the KA highlights from that, and I have to say, like, it was super fun to watch. A lot of switchback opportunities. I mean, obviously that long straight and just the kind of chaos that can happen in the section afterwards is something that if I was running a KA, I would be really excited to race that. And then also, I mean, just in general, like, looks like a really fun track to announce as well. So, I mean, just looking at it on both ends, I mean, Texas is probably the biggest state for karting that I haven't been to. So it's kind of on my bucket list to go race there and commentate there at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you, right, Caleb, you definitely need to bring some waters and some sunscreen, for us fair-skinned guys.
Yeah, and make sure if you eat out, you double check where you get your food from.
I don't know why you're hating on all this Tex-Mex food, man. This is classic stuff.
I ain't hating on nothing. I just hate on whatever kept me up at 3 a.m. till 6 a.m. in the bathroom. One bathroom with everyone in the Airbnb, so it wasn't just me who suffered; it was everyone else at the house.
That's just ridiculous. You should at least drove to like a gas station or something, man. You blew the whole place up.
Well, no. Sorry.
Well, it is what it is here. We're going to come back here because we've got Alec Coates joining us in the booth. When we come back, we want to go over a lot of stuff that happened for the Stars Championship Series event. We had a guy go in the pond. We had Goose Chaser live. We had some crazy racing action. And we had some tuners doing the dance that we caught live. So we're going to talk about all that with the man who is in charge of making sure that the race goes on, the official race director of the Stars Championship Series, and a background that spans over Superkarts USA, US Pro Kart Series competition, and a very established driver in his own right earlier on in a few years past in a past life. Alec Coates will be joining us after the break, guys. Stick with us here for KC Happy Hour episode number 44.
KC Happy Hour is presented by Precision Performance Karting. PPK is the exclusive South Florida distributor for the American-made Coyote Zenith kart racing chassis. PPK is offering trackside support at all the Cup Kart South Division events, the CKNA Majors, including the Spring Nats and the Grand Nats, the Sunshine State Karting Challenge, and a number of club events in the Southeast. New here for 2022 and in partnership with Brandon Jarscrack Racing, PPK is also offering full Arriva drive opportunities in the Junior Senior Briggs 206 classes at the popular Stars Championship Series and the GoPro Motorplex Karting Challenge events. The same professionally prepared kart and motor package has propelled Brandon to victories at Winter Nationals and the Monticello Divisional in 2022 are available to you. In addition to the Coyote line of racing chassis, Precision Performance Karting is also a distributor for Odenthal Racing products, Hilliard clutches, Vega tires, and Greyhound racing seats. Check out Precision Performance Karting on Facebook and Instagram or email them at ppkartingfl@gmail.com.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com, and one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
Looking to join one of the fastest growing kart clubs in the United States? Check out the Mississippi Karters Association. Located at the legendary Spring Ridge Raceway in Jackson, Mississippi, the MKA and Drive Your Line Kart Shop have already kicked off their 2022 year with a massive increase in drivers and some awesome racing. Even if you don't have a kart yet, you can get involved by checking out the Drive Your Line Kart Shop, which is an official dealer of Comp Kart, Tillotson, and Margay chassis, as well as Briggs & Stratton, Tillotson, Yamaha, and IME engines. If you're a new, returning, or current racer, the MKA and Drive Your Line Kart Shop can help you get in the seat and on the track in the central Mississippi region. Check them out online on Facebook or at misskarting.com and driveyourline.com.
All right, guys, welcome back to KC Happy Hour, episode number 44. And once again, we got to give a big round of applause because it's a big wig in the sport joining us here in the booth. Go ahead and bring him in here, Trevor. Alec Coates is joining us, boys. Yeah, let's give it up for Alec, man. Good to see you, man. How you doing here tonight, Alec?
What's up, boys? How's it going?
It's going good, man. We're having ourselves a good night here. So obviously a little wet and wild, but let's go ahead and let's just have your thoughts. Nearly 200 drivers. You've been with the Stars series from the jump. The crew's been about the same from the jump. How was the weekend in your eyes here, pulling off such a big jump in total turnout?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not sure it could have went much better, kind of given what we were dealt here. I'd be lying if I said it probably wasn't the first time. Probably was the first time I've arrived at a kart track before midnight with the race the next day, and I still got about 3 hours of sleep. I just had a lot of nervous energy going. I knew there was a potential weather threat, and at the end of the day, once we put the first class on track, I knew we had the best team for it, and I think it went overall incredible. Racing was incredible, and I loved having you guys finally on board with it.
Yeah, it was cool for us to be there here. Let's start with the weather thing first and foremost, of course. We had, some other unexpected guests that joined the racetrack here midway through the stream, and this was during a little bit of a rain and lightning delay that we had, of course, early in the weekend. Now, Alec, this is something that I think is good to kind of bring to light about a standard policy that just about every other race series and event and really outdoor sporting events adhere to. And that's kind of the lightning policy. When lightning strikes within a certain mile range of the racetrack, you have normally a clock, whether it's sometimes 10, 15, 30 minutes. In this case with the Star Series was 30 minutes. Talk to us kind of your whole process of going through Saturday afternoon, because I'm sure that's a place nobody really envies, because everyone's wanting to race or they're wanting to go home, and you're trying to get the race again because they all pay to be there. But, the weather did not make it easy for you Saturday.
No, obviously we wanted to try to get as much as we could in, and with our schedule wanting to get people out there on Sundays. I mean, as the series grows, you got people with flights, you got workers with flights. So we really wanted to get as much as we could on Saturday to keep that end point on Sunday around 3:30 or whatnot. But as you said, it goes 30 minutes from lightning delay to lightning delay, and that's a rough estimate. But we got one more in after the first lightning, and then more rolled in, and we just kind of sat on it. The funny thing is the storm cell that was coming after we got the one in and then it started the lightning again, the one that was coming was going to make all those other ones look like small storms. So we ended up just making the call and adjusting the schedule, which I think went overall pretty fluent. I mean, we only ended, I think, 30 minutes later than we were scheduled to on Sunday. But it was just funny. We got back to the hotel, got some food for the whole team, and we opened the blinds in the conference room and it's just sunny out. I'm like, oh, this is great. But at the end of the day, I mean, everybody shows up at 8 a.m., at probably 6 a.m. for most of the drivers and tuners, and nobody wanted to be there till 7. So I think we ultimately made the right call. Didn't really have any complaints. Little people poking fun on the Discord, but they all came up to talk to us and they're like, yeah, we were totally kidding. That was definitely the right call.
Yeah, no doubt about it here. I mean, like you said, it's a safety thing, obviously, and then it's not a fun position to be in to get through it. And well, I wanted to ask you, your just thoughts, just raw thoughts through your head. We had that infamous shifter master start that we caught on camera here. I hope you know what I'm talking about here. Sunday afternoon. We'll go ahead and play it right here. Emory's on the mic.
One in the lake. Oh my, that was
way
terrible.
deep.
He is deep
Way
in the lake
deep.
there, but unfortunate for that driver. He is going so.
And again, the start. So not everyone knows this, right? But if you watch closely on the starts, you'll see Alec. He's walking through on all the shifter grids to make sure they're all good. Goes to the back of the grid, sees that no one's stalled, sees that we're good to go. And then as soon as you walk off to the side of the racetrack, you see the start go. You see a guy from the back trying to make his way forward, hits the cone, nearly hits also. I'll try and pause it at the right time. Nearly hits Stars official cameraman and photographer and videographer Sean Burkle. Look at Sean's ankle breaking skills right here. I mean, he is just laying it on him, getting out of the way. I don't know how big Sean misses it. Look at that right there. He's still getting the shot. That's the craziest. His hands are down here looking and getting the camera angle. and
one in the lake.
And he filmed the end of it, and we're going to post the clip here right after the show. The guy gets out of the cart. His name was Joe Foster, and he took a bow as soon as he got out when he went over to Sean. But, Alec, your first thoughts when you see a guy go right on through the cone on the side and then into the deep in the pond?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for one, I was happy Sean didn't get hit. I actually thought he actually went the wrong way. If you're looking at the video, he kind of jab stepped toward the cart at first, but no one really ever gets put in that position. I'm also shocked that cone does that much to the just veer left. But I went up to him afterwards and after the driver and asked him if he's all good, and he was like, "Yeah, just super embarrassed." I'm like, I wouldn't be too embarrassed, man. We've put about 10 in the pond so far, so. That was the deepest one by far, though. That thing was completely saturated.
Yeah, that thing was massive. Emory, you were on the call, and you had an infamous perfect line here that Rock Lenard pointed in. There's, I think it was you, or was it Connor that said, "Oh, we got one in the lake"?
No, I think we both said "oh" at the same time, and then I think Connor interjected with the "we got one in the lake"
Looks
part.
like deep in the lake there, but unfortunate for that driver. He's going swimming in the lake over
it was
there right now.
Crazy. I was focused on the front, but on the child corner of my eye, I see the big splash, right? And I'm just my immediate reaction was oh, because I've seen that happen a couple of times now. I think the first time was Elliot Bazinski a few years ago at PCAS, maybe it was. But yeah, it's obviously in a shifter start right off the line. You never expect someone to just go straight there, and then to see Sean almost get hit with it. I mean, it was wild just to be on it. And then like for the next like 30 seconds, I think of the broadcast, all I could think about was just replaying that scene over and over in my head. So of all the things that we watched that weekend, I think this one, and then obviously Ayrton Grimm coming to turn one, almost going into the fence on that backside, was also another one that kind of caught me by surprise on that one.
Yeah, that one was deep because, I mean, it's the rain's kind of come. It's April showers have gone through and into May this year, especially up in the Midwest, and especially with all the rain that we got Saturday. I mean, those lakes were high. I mean, Alec, like you said, we probably fished about 10 go-karts out of the pond, not just that pond there on the left, but then that pond goes all the way around to the backside of turn one on this layout. And there were a bunch of guys going up and over the berm, and then you'd see them and you'd lose them on the broadcast. And then you would see a big splashdown like about 3 seconds later.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, when we rolled in Friday morning too, we only had half a grid. So, because it was, I mean, I've never seen water in some of the places there. I know that some of it gets pretty high, like by that pond, but I mean, half the grid was completely underwater. We were just single filing them all the way back, rolling off because nobody wanted to set their cart down in 3 inches of water. But luckily that subsided, and then it was also good that it wasn't back up there come Sunday morning, because that might have been caused some issues trying to grid up some carts.
Yeah, and speaking of the grid here, the grid also had a really cool clip that we had over the weekend. We caught a little bit of the tuner dance going on here as they're coming on by the start-finish line. You can see right there, that's Lucas Palacios' dad. That's Robbie Bajoso, who's the team owner for Checkered Motorsports, talking to both of their drivers and doing the whole dance as they're all coming on by. And Alec, I mean, when you're on the racetrack and you're a race director and you see this go down, do you chuckle a little bit? Because we definitely like to laugh at it in the booth.
Oh, absolutely. I love it, though. I mean, a lot of series, honestly, don't even allow coaching, but I'm all for it. I think it shows some pretty good passion. And, I mean, I think it ultimately helps the drivers, especially when you're talking about mini and micro. I mean, I like to see it. And, yeah, it definitely makes you laugh a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It was it was goofy for sure. Aaron, you were tuning. Did you find yourself doing hand signals over there?
Oh, 100%. I was over, and I'd get right up next to the cones on the far side so your cameras wouldn't catch me. And I'd be telling Austin, go, and I'd be like floating your hands down or push the guy in front of you. I was doing it the whole weekend because he has this terrible habit of looking behind him like every corner, and then I'll go and miss the next corner.
As they all do.
Miss the next corner, yeah. And so I was trying to give him signals to – no, I don't think he does, but it makes me feel better as a tuner. And so I was trying to keep him from doing that by telling him where he was. He ran the race as well anyways. I mean, he did a great job out there. But I was trying to just do anything I could to stop him from looking backwards every other corner.
Alec, it was you and your dad when you guys were racing back when you were driving. Did your dad ever try to do any signals like that to you when you were coming up?
Well, ironically, that's kind of what I was referring to. Is, I mean, we weren't allowed to at MRP much, so
okay.
we would get shut down if we tried to do it. But if it was allowed, Dave Coates would have been all over it. He might have been standing all the way up on the wall or on the track.
he would have found his spot for sure. Caleb, you've done tuning gigs alongside your announcing and driving. Have you been guilty of the signs on the side of the fence too?
Absolutely not. No, you will not catch me with my shirt over my head, spinning it, trying to give us indication to pass somebody. I usually just stare at the timesheet and watch the guy.
Well, moving on from that, I think as a whole, I mean, it seems like everyone was really happy with how both weekends went, but especially on your group, like you said, Alec, you said you didn't get a whole lot of sleep. Did you come out of the weekend on Sunday feeling good? Because obviously you can't make all 200 people happy. There's going to be guys upset, whether it's really not even directed at you or not, because not everyone can come away with a trophy. But do you feel pretty happy with how the weekend went? Did you come away good?
Yeah, incredible. I mean, there's going to be growing pains, and we definitely had those internally, but at the end of the day, we made those right. And I think overall, I mean, my motto always is when I'm talking to somebody that's upset, make sure they're leaving the conversation in a better headspace than what they came into it. And I think we overall achieved that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's agree to disagree. They're coming to you because they're upset about something, so they're usually not going to like what they have to tell you. But as long as they walk away feeling a little better about the conversation in the series, that's where we got to go with it.
Well, it was a good weekend here. Race Liberante was in the chat a little bit earlier, and he's just like everybody else. I think we're all expecting well over 200 entries when we go to GoPro Motorplex here in a month's time for the night fight. That one will be streamed. We're going to go even higher level with that. I'm already planning to make sure that we'll have, I think, Jenna, and if Kendall's not racing, or we'll bring our full broadcast team to have a couple interviewers there as well. We'll have the whole shebang. I'd love to do a whole lot more fun stuff with the stream stuff, but that that weekend's got to be good. And running under the lights, right? I mean, that's a non-traditional deal on these, multi-day national weekends where everyone's traveling in. I know we've talked about it, and you've mentioned it even a little bit, in the behind the scenes with the Stars series. It's about doing what's fun, keeping a good atmosphere, and doing something different, when it comes to, especially in this case at GoPro, you got stadium level lighting. Why not run under the lights in the heat of summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. We kind of laughing all weekend, though. I mean, we literally are on the longest day of the year. So Eastern time, where it's going to literally be like a dusk fight, not so much a night fight, but it's still going to be sweet. I mean, sun going down late June in North Carolina. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. And the schedule is going to be kind of cool to work out, and hopefully everybody really enjoys it. But yeah, I think we're going to expect pretty huge numbers here, and hopefully some great racing.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more badass than seeing a full field of shifter carts under the lights night racing. I think everything just looks cooler under the lights, and I think that was a big cool part of the Miami Grands last year with the X30, the KA shootouts. Even the rental kart shootout looked fun and exciting to watch with all the mechanics going and throwing haymakers there. But Alec, we want to thank you for coming on the show, man. Any closing thoughts for people about yourself and the Stars series and the rest of 2022?
Yeah, no, I mean, just if you're on the fence about it, come out and give us a shot. I haven't heard too many people leaving our series upset, and there's been a lot of great things. We got the best people in the best places on our staff, and I think it's only going to continue to get better. We're in a great spot, and obviously, like you said, the shifter fields are just so cool to see. I think that's Joe's baby, and it's he's put all the work in to have those grids looking like that. So come out, give us a shot, and I don't think you're going to regret it.
Well, cool deal. Alec, we thank you, of course, here for joining us on the show. Thanks again for taking some time out of your day. We really appreciate it, buddy.
Yep, no problem, guys. Appreciate you.
Hang on, I got a question for Alec.
Oh yeah,
quick.
Go for it.
So for the night race out there, since you're good with coaching, can I bring like LED sticks and like start waving them around and do
absolutely
on the side?
As long as they're not looking at you for too long, we don't need them piling into turn one.
I'll put it far enough up the front straight so they won't get too distracted.
All right, that works.
Fair enough.
All right, cool.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Alec. You have a good night, man.
Yep. We'll see you, boys.
All right. That was Alec Coates again with the Stars Championship Series joining us. And obviously, big turnouts there. Big turnouts at TSRS. Night racing going on is going to be cool. Aaron's going to try and get himself kicked out since he's not working for us, so he can do whatever he wants, with the LED. Throw him on the track. Give us some entertainment, please. Do something.
I want to run under trays for that race like Stanfield did at the Grands last year for the KA shootout. Get the neon lights going.
I'm going to try to get something figured out for Austin's cart for that. Throw some LEDs on there. See if I can get like a disco going on around the track.
That would be sick to have the underglow there. I mean, as long as you got it secured, that was sick. So hopefully we get some more of that. And a quick note to all of our viewers here, for if you're looking for that Stars series at GoPro, obviously, just like the US Pro Kart Series and the SCUSA Pro Tour, where a lot of those major classes hit caps, that KA senior class and probably that KA junior class too are going to get darn near the cap. They were anticipating only being able to run 60 as the cap with the way they had the format of split heats of 30 carts max in a heat and a max of 30 in each pre-final. They might be able to get a few more, but a lot of people purchased that Stars Championship Series season pass. So that means that they've got first entry. So a lot of those slots are already taken. They had 55 at Newcastle at a track with a good club and a good amount of Ks, but you got a GoPro and they pull 40 K seniors for a club race. So if you're on the fence about the Stars Series, registration, I think, is going to be opening soon. If it's not already open, I think they were looking to maybe open as soon as Wednesday this week. So that'd be tomorrow. I would go ahead and if you can afford to get your pre-entry in, go and get your pre-entry in, save money, book your hotel in a second, or do hotels.com or something where you don't have to pay for it up front, because that class will more than likely sell out when we go to GoPro at either a 60 or 70 driver cap. So just like the big series, I mean, that series is coming up there really quickly. So let's go through a couple of the Q&A and comments that have come in here. I had a funny story actually on one of the comments that came in. Kai Sorensen was at the very beginning of the show, and I don't know if Kai's still tuned in here, but I have a funny story to kind of go on this comment, right? So obviously, for those that know me well, I spent 3 years before we started Kart Chaser living down in Miami, Florida, as the assistant manager at AMR Motorplex, the Homestead Miami Speedway go-kart track owned by the VKG Entertainment Group that also owns GoPro Motorplex. And there was when we have the SCUSA Winter Series come to town, it was like some of my easiest days. So I get to just, once we turn the keys over to SCUSA, just kind of babysit the racetrack. So I'd get to hang around a little bit on the grid, and then we run the rental carts at night. And we were noticing how much some of the cadet and the junior and the micro kids were more into like setting up their own rental kart league tournaments than actually how they performed at the SCUSA Winter Series race they were there for. And Kai Sorensen, he got down there with some kind of, unlimited credits from his parents, and he was there every single night. And so then Sunday, he's starting on the pole in the mini class in the pre-final. And he comes to me, and he's not thinking of like, oh, what am I going to do or whatever. He goes, Xander, would you give me a free rental session if I go and win this heat race? And I was like, yeah, like it's a rental card. It's $25. Sure, Kyle, I'll bet you $25. You'll get a free rental session. Goes out. Of course, he wins the freaking heat race. So he goes out, battles, wins the heat race, comes in from the scales, shakes tuner's hand, says, yeah. Comes and finds me. Like, I'm not even by the scales. Comes over and finds me during the lunch break and says, Xander, I won. Did you see? We're getting the free race tonight, right? And I'm like, yeah, Kai, yeah, you'll get the free. Oh, okay, cool. We're already set our own tournament. So I guess, yeah, Kai Sorensen, superstar over in Europe, racing over in junior. Shout out to Kai. But, hey, if a rental card session gets you back over here to the States and we can start promoting you on U.S. races again, I'll give you a free rental session. And I don't work there anymore, but I'll buy you one right now if you need to come back for it. So shout out to our boy Kai Sorensen right there. This is a fun rumor here from Wes Lee. So this is true. Marion Kremers and Jake French are invading the North Texas Carters club race here in Denton, Texas, which is about 15 minutes up the road from my apartment. So I'm going to see if I can make it out there Saturday night. But if you got a gearbox cart, Caleb's a gearbox guy by trade. Unfortunately, I already shipped Caleb out of the state, and flights are really expensive, Caleb, now. So I'm not bringing you back for this one. But we might make a little spotlight appearance over at North Texas Carters here this weekend because they got a club race, and that'll be pretty cool to see all them. Hey, Aiden Rudolph, a lot of love to you, buddy. We're going to do more and more TSRS news and coverage, especially when we get that Denton race coming later this month. Congratulations, by the way, on defending home turf and getting that big win. I promise. Hey, we gave you the ticker at the bottom. We're giving you a lot of love over here, but you didn't have a 3-wide finish like Kelvin did, so we can't give you all the love. We got to show some spread around to our Caleb, what do we call them? Lawnmower friends over there at the 206 class?
I have no comment on the statement that you just said.
No, in all seriousness, the 206 stuff has been awesome, and racing was really, really good. And the turnout was really good there. There were 25 plus and 206 seniors, so cool stuff to see. But yes, Luigi Saraceno, the race. So it's still going to run through to Sunday. I think what their plan is to run a bunch of the heat races Saturday night and also have some Friday night practice of questioning about it. I don't think the plan is to wrap up on Saturday night. I could be wrong, but I know it's that weekend, and they'll have the time.
I think it's until Sunday.
I think it is till Sunday. I think we're going to be there Sunday too. So, but I think Saturday starts later. Saturday goes to the night. I think Sunday will run the main events in the afternoon. But at least we're racing at night at some point, or as Alec said, on the longest day of the year, probably at dusk. So either way, it'll be cool. But yeah, we
need more night races. I am not a morning person, and it is so nice getting up at noon to go to the track instead of 6 a.m. Like every series needs to run at least one night race a year. We gotta do something.
I agree. About that, man. I agree. We got to get something. It's too darn hot when we go to some of these places in the summer, man. It's gonna be hot that whole weekend at Stars. It's hot anywhere. I mean, it got hot at Road America at some points last year. We were up all the way in Wisconsin, so I mean yeah. I'm down for some night racing. I could use sleeping in. Waking up at 5 a.m. isn't always the most fun thing when we're there the whole day. Oh, and okay, Aiden. All right, Aiden Rudolph racing shifter this weekend too. All right. Yeah, now we gotta go there. We'll give you some more Texas news there, Aiden, if you actually are serious and you're racing shifter. So we'll give him some love. But I agree, more night races would be sick, and it would give Caleb more time to stay up late on the toilet before he's ready to come to the track the next day, right, Caleb?
Yeah, you have no idea how much only 2 hours would have met.
Oh man. Well, boys, that's it. That's our show here for the evening. We'll see you guys next week. We'll bring on some more of our pro stars. I want to talk about some media stuff here and some more. We've had some of these off-week shows where we'll talk about different things with the sport, whether it's coaching or anything else, and have more industry-wide discussions. But we had so much good racing over the weekend. Got a bunch more clips coming. We'll post the main events probably on tomorrow for the full, if you weren't a KC premium member to watch those main events live or watch the replays currently, we'll get all those clipped up so you guys can watch the main events tomorrow. You can watch all the pre-finals, heat races, qualifying sessions. Those are already publicly posted on the streams as well. For Aaron Hachmeister, Xing, for Emory Lyda, for Caleb Smock, and for myself, Xander Clements, that does it for tonight. We will see you guys next week on KC Happy Hour.